What's up, guys? My name is Andre. I'm the CEO of edgeful.com, and in this video, we're going to be covering the reports. So if you want to play this video on 2x speed, you definitely can. I just want to make sure that you watch it from beginning to end. There's a lot of important information in here. It's going to be fast. Just please make sure to watch to the end. If you're a struggling futures trader, pay attention. Edgeful.com just released a completely free 5-day course that will help you become a better futures trader. Number 1 is going to be how to stop sabotaging yourself and your trading. Number 2 is going to be the IB setup, how to find data-backed entries, stop losses, and profit targets. Number 3 is going to be how to avoid choppy price action. This is a huge piece for futures traders that you need to figure out. Number 4 is going to be how to find a data-backed bias every single day. So no more guessing if price is going to go up or down. And then number 5 is going to be algo trading versus manual trading and what are the pros and cons of each. Make sure to sign up at edgeful.com. So first thing in the sidebar, we're going to be in the reports right over here. Obviously, I'm going to close this. You can open and close the sidebar. We're here, but I'm going to close that just so you guys know. Now, there's really 3 sections of this page. Number 1 is this sidebar. This is your steering wheel for the entire page right over here. And there's obviously this middle section, which has all the data and the explainers. And then there's the sidebar. I'm going to cover each of these. This right over here is your steering wheel for this entire page. Okay. So at the top, there's going to be live data. This is the what's in play. This is a little snippet of the what's in play right up top. This feeds live data into the report so you can see what the data is for today. There is not too much customization on this page. I highly recommend using the what's in play on this page over here. I'll switch over to it quickly so you can see exactly what it looks like. It's much more robust. I would highly recommend being there. Just so you know, the what's in play tells you what is actually setting up on your favorite tickers and reports in order of probability. So highest probability setups are always at the top so you can focus on what to trade and what not to trade. I would recommend going right over here and then watch this video for some more details. All right. So going back to the report page, that's this right over here. Just a little brief snippet of what's happening live. Then we always have the visual representation of the results of the report. We're looking at the gap fill report on NQ in the New York session in the last 6 months. That's the visual of here. You can see gap up, gap down. Most reports are going to be different here. Customizations are always going to be here. Then we always have the table representation. So there's been 78 gaps up, 45 filled. That's 58%. 50 gaps down, 30 of them filled. That's 60%. Always, these will be here. Scrolling down, the streaks. So the last 5 gaps up, the last 5 gaps down, you can see it's kind of a mixed bag right now. There's not really any streaks that's happening right now. And this is actually really important. We have a table that breaks down every single day of the results that you're looking at. If you change this to be 5 years, there will be 5 years of data in here. It's always the look back period that you're looking at. Really key note, you can customize this table. So I want to look only at gaps that filled. I can do that, right? I want to look only at gaps up. I can do that as well. You can change this to be equals or contains or whatever else. Some of the reports will be different, but you just need to know that you can filter and customize and sort this table. Okay, that from here up is the data section. And now from here down is the explainer section. Every single report has an explainer video. Play them on 2x speed. I don't care, but you have to watch them. We don't want you assuming what the report is measuring versus what it's not. Please watch this video. Anytime you come across a new report, you only have to watch it once. Just watch it, please. Then going down a little bit further, the explainer text. What does this measure? How do I use this? And understanding why these things are important. Then going down, you can see over here an actual explainer graphic, gap up, gap down, gap up filled, gap up not filled. Most reports have this, but that's the actual body of the page here. Now, we do have templates, so you can, the purpose of this is to be able to instantly switch customizations with just one click. So I'll touch on that in just a second, but pretty much you can see my fill percentage now, my gap fill percentage is 100%. I can just click right over here, gap fill 50. This is a template that I already have, and it will automatically change. Just give it a second to load, but it'll automatically change my customization to 50%. If you have reports that are recurring that you like to view over and over again, instead of having to click the customization, click over here, go down, click this, it will do it just in one click. So now I'm at gap fill 100, I'll go gap fill 50, and you just have to give it a second. Now I'm at gap fill 50, I can go back to gap fill 100 in just one click instead of opening the customization modal here. You can also switch templates from over here, so I can go back to gap fill 50, back to gap fill 100 very easily. I can also create a new template if I want to. So let's just say I want to do gap fill 75, right? 75% gap fill, save as new template. I'm going to do gap fill 75, click save. Now I've created a template that's right over here. Now it will always load to this report that you're on. If I go to all templates, you can also switch to any other templates that you have. So you can see I have my orb, I have 15 minute and 30 minute. If I click this, it will take me to the orb report with the customization already set. So just wanted to let you guys know about that. Now, for the reports and customizations, you can see if I click on this, these are all the reports that we have. This does not include the sub-reports, just so you guys know. So what is a sub-report? That's the next thing. You can filter any of these reports by weekday, by size. A sub-report is just a filter or variation of the report that you're on. So go to the by weekday, let this load. you can see how the data changes. Now keep in mind the customization does carry over. So if you want to go back to 100%, you can do that very easily. So one thing, which you'll notice is it took me back to the standard report. You would have to create a new template for the bi-weekday variation. Just keep that in mind. You can build out your template slowly over time. I don't recommend overdoing it to start. Just kind of naturally see what you go back and forth to. Let's go back to the standard report here. Customizations, that's kind of what we covered. Every report will have different customizations, so you can check those here. Then we also have Edgeful AI. If you don't know what report to use, go check out Edgeful AI. Now for the asset and ticker, clicking on this, we have futures, stocks, Forex, and crypto. You can go through. We have literally every single ticker you can imagine. If you want to switch to stocks and then you want to go to Tesla, you can do that here. I automatically switched to Tesla gap fill now. Let's go back to NQ. I like to use my watch list, which I'll touch on in just a second. Over here is the date range. How far back do you want this report to look? You can go up to 5 years. You can pick a custom start and end date. You can do 3 months. You can do 1 month. You can do whatever you want. Sessions. So just so you know, one last thing about the date range, it'll always show you the start and end dates right over here. So if I go 3 months, it'll show you the start and end date. This is not going to change what happens up here, just so you know. That's really important. So keep that in mind. Now, the last thing is the session. We have pre-built sessions. If you want to know how sessions work, please go to the Get Started page right over here. On the Essential Walkthrough, if you scroll down, you're going to see how to use sessions. If you trade futures, Forex, or crypto, you have to watch this video. It is absolutely essential. Please make sure to do that. You can create custom sessions as well. So you can go through and create custom ones just like this. You can also delete them. Now you have a clean session selector. The last thing that I'll say actually is the bookmarks. I highly recommend using these bookmarks. Anyone who's new will have the most popular reports loaded in, but you can switch instantly from the gap fill to the initial balance report. You can go, just give it a second to load, and then you can go to, from here, to the inside bars report in just one click. You can also switch from NQ to YM or to Tesla in just one click. So please build out your bookmarks and your watch list as well as the templates. They will make your experience a lot better because you'll always have everything you need right on the sidebar over here. And if you want to bookmark any new report, let's just say I'm on the Power Hour Breakout report and I don't have it bookmarked, the way to bookmark the reports is just right over here. So if I click on this, you're going to see it gets added right over here. If I click it again, it'll get removed. So if you have any questions at all, please don't be shy to reach out to our support over here. If this was helpful, please subscribe to the YouTube. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. What's up, guys? My name is Andre. In this video, I'm going to be covering the brand new templates on edgeful.com. So what you'll notice over here on the top left is the custom template section, as well as over here, you can see the custom templates in your sidebar. You can open and close this. There's really, again, obviously 2 places to go and switch to and from templates you have. To create a new template is going to be just over here. I'm going to show you guys exactly what the purpose of it is and how to create new templates, delete them, etc. So let's say that on the gap fill report, you know that you always look at the 100% gap fill, but you always also are curious about the 50% gap fill or the half gap. The way to do it right, well, the way to do it before this was you need to click on customize, then go over here, then scroll up, click on that, click save, right? And then now here's the 50% fill. Now to go back, click again, whatever else, right? Click here, click there. Now, instead of doing that, if you know you're going to be revisiting certain settings over and over again, what we wanted to do was, now you click save. Now we're looking at the half gap here. You can see that you have a custom template currently, and it's not saved. And pretty much what this means is this will only happen when you change some of the customizations. So let's go and save this as a new template. You can see I have one here for the gap fill 100%. I'm going to save this one as a new template. I'm going to go over here, gap fill 50, right? I can see and I can double check the settings that I have selected here are this exactly, click save. Now you can see template has been saved, gap fill 50 has been created right over here. So I'm on the gap fill 50 now. Let me switch in one click back to 100. You can see I switched to 100. Let me go back one click, switch to 50. Now I can do this for any ticker. I can go to ES, Tesla, NVIDIA, Bitcoin, whatever else. But now I have my 100 and my 50 in one click. And right over here, it will always anchor to the report that you're on. So you can always see this report, or you can go to all templates. And from here, I can go through and look at all the other templates that I've created, and I can actually jump straight to that report from this sidebar. Before I do that, the last thing that you can do over here is click on this, and I can switch as well over here. So you can switch over here or over here. And if you want to create a new template, you can do that as well. So if I want to do gap fill, call it 25%, go over here, click. Now I have my 25% gap fill. I'm going to click on that. There it is, 25%. So I can instantly go from 100% to 50% to 25% in just 3 clicks, instead of having to open this up and go back and forth. So whenever you find yourself going through the same process over and over again, make sure right over here to create a template. You do that with this button here. Now, going to all templates, you can see here, I have my initial balance. You can see I have different templates here. I have my opening candle continuation. I have my orb. I have my ICT. You can obviously expand and collapse all these. So let me just switch over to the opening candle continuation for a second. So the 1 hour opening candle is the default. So what you can see there is, let me just switch over here. So it actually takes you up there. There it's loading. So over here, we have opening candle continuation. You can see I'm on the 1 hour customization. You can see obviously 60 minutes. Now, if I were to switch to 30 minute, immediately I switch over to the 30 minute. Now, let's say for whatever reason, I want to go and I want to check out the 15 minute. This is something I want to continue to look at. Click that. Now you can see over here, obviously I'm looking at the 15 minute, but I don't have the template. So if I go back to this report, it will filter only for the templates of this report, obviously. So I'm going to click on Save as New. I'm going to do OCC 15 minute, click Save. Now I have my OCC 15 minute. So I can go from 1 hour to 30 minute to 15 minutes in 3 clicks instead of all these other clicks. And then I also don't have to remember, which is really key. I don't have to remember these important customizations that maybe I saw on YouTube or maybe I saw someone on Twitter talk about. All I have to do is save it as a template. And now I don't need to be like, oh, what was that one thing that I thought was interesting that I wanted to go revisit or whatever. You can just template it and revisit it later. So you don't actually have to forget, because the way that we used to have it, you just have to keep switching back and forth and back and forth. So I'm curious what you guys think here. Please reach out to our support if you have any suggestions on what else to add. Do you want us to add tickers into this? Do you want to be able to save the ticker and the customization? So you can have one for ES, one for NQ, one for the New York session, one for 6 months, one for 3 months. Let us know. But I think this is a huge upgrade. You can go through to any specific folder you want. You can all see them right here. You can also see just this report. You can obviously expand and collapse this if you still want to use this right over here. But these are the brand new templates. They are going to be coming to the screener and the what's in play as well. So you'll be able to do this on those pages as well. Instead of going to the what's in play and having to select all the different reports, all the different tickers every single time you open this up, you will be able to just click a template and load everything for your morning setup or your afternoon setup or anything else. You'll be able to do it in just one click instead of, you can see here, we don't have the template section. It will be out soon. But instead of going back and forth and clicking every single button, with just a few clicks, you can really build the dashboard based on you and your trading style. So hope this is helpful. Thanks for watching. What's up, guys? My name is Andre, and in this video, we're going to be covering the brand new What's in Play from edgeful.com. So before we get into it, this is right over here on the left sidebar. This is the section we're going to be covering. And what does this do? This tells you what reports are setting up on your favorite tickers every single day and what you should be focusing on versus what not, based on the actual data right over here. So based on the historical data. So instead of having to memorize when is the outside day setting up, when is there a gap up, when is there whatever report setting up, and then also when is it high probability versus not, like we don't expect you to memorize all that, obviously. We have a ton of reports. You just come here. So every single day, the way to use Edgeful is to use the historical reports to understand what works for you, and then use the what's in play in the screener actually live every day. So instead of having to memorize or acknowledge, oh, today opened within the yesterday's range, what report was that again? Oh, it was the inside bars. I should go look at the data for that. The what's in play is going to do all that for you. Oh, today there's a gap up. Today opened above the ICT open. Today there was a single break of the IB. Whatever it is, you no longer have to memorize everything, and you just come to this one page where everything is displayed for you in order of what you should be focusing on versus not. So you can select all assets over here. So you can include the equities and futures. If you select all, you'll be able to do that. You can go to stocks. You'll only select equities. And then futures, obviously, is only futures. Now here, I can pick any tickers I want from over here. I only have ES and NQ loaded right now. I have my session. I have all my reports. And this is not the way that I set mine up personally. This is just, I try to include a lot in here. But you can see, you can include and exclude certain reports from what actually shows up. So if you don't care about ADR, obviously don't include it. Now, right over here, the data filter. This is really important. So you can see we have 87%, 60, 50, whatever else. We're down here, 23%. If you don't want to see reports that have low probabilities, you just filter them out, right? So you're going to watch as this disappears from my in-play section based on the data filter. So if I want to look at 65% and up only, now I have only the reports based on the live data right now that are 65% and higher. And then over here, you can filter for long versus short bias. So if I click long, obviously all the short goes away. And this is the in play section. These are the reports that are actually in play right now. So that's obviously really important. Going down, we have forming. So this forming means there's a few reports that can be forming. The orb, the IB, the opening candle continuation. These reports take a certain amount of time into the session for it to actually form, right? Like if at 9:35, there's not a 15-minute orb yet. At 9:35, there's also not an IB or an opening candle yet. So they'll be in this forming section. And then completed. These are reports that are no longer in play. So the gap fill. Once the gap actually fills, it's obviously no longer in play anymore. You can't use this data because it already happened, right? So this is the section down here of what already happened today. Now, up top, this is what's left for you to focus on based on the tickers and the reports that you have selected, and obviously the data filters. So what you see here, the way that this works, the way that these frames work, is that it'll tell you the ticker, it'll tell you the report that you're on, it'll give you the live data of, okay, today opened within yesterday's range. 87% of the time, there's a breakout on Tuesday, meaning that price will break out of yesterday's range on Tuesdays. Here's your previous day's high, previous day's low. These are your targets. And over here, if we click view details, you're going to see the current live data. And then you're also going to see the historical data here. So you don't need to jump back and forth from this page to the report page. You have all the information right here. So there were 15 inside bars in the last 6 months on Tuesdays. This is important. This is the bi-weekday report. You can see that right here. This is the bi-weekday report. And 13 of them broke out. So 87% broke out of yesterday's range. And here are your targets right over here. Same thing goes here. This is the regular inside bars report. Let's go to the view details. Again, here is the live data. There's been a ton of, 79 right over here, 79 inside bars. 68 of them have broken out. So 86% of those have broken out. That's the bias that you should get is I want to expect price to break out of previous day's high today. Going down, opening candle, this is the exact same thing. Now, this is the first one in this list that's actually customizable. So I'll close this. You can see these are not clickable. You can't customize the inside bars report. You can customize the opening candle report. So you can actually change the time frame of the opening candle. Some people trade a 30-minute, a 15-minute. We don't really care, right? You click on view details. You can see opening candle color is red. Here's the size. Here's the day color so far. Continuation, yes, right? Over here, you can see the data. There's 18 red opening candles. This is the bi-weekday. Obviously, you need to be aware of that. So 78% of the time, you are going to get that follow through on Tuesdays. So that's red opening candle, red day. You can see that right over here. Going down, these are the other reports that you can see. So in this case, you can see very high probability with a lot of short bias here. That's really important. We are going to be adding the bias bar as well on the top. But for now, you can see right here, everything is very short biased. Going down to the completed section, you can see gap fill by weekday. You can see, again, all the live data that happened. Here is the historical data for gaps up on Tuesdays for ES. If you go over here, you can customize the gap fill percentage. So you can do half gaps, which is the 50%, and everything else. This is totally up to you. There's no really right way to do it. But you can see, again, 92% of gaps filled. This one already filled. That's why it's in the completed section. So if you guys have any questions about what's in play, please don't be shy to reach out to our support right here. We do have an AI agent, but if you say speak to a person, we'll obviously speak to our team. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Here's exactly how you're going to use the edgeful screener to understand what your daily bias should be every single day. So this is on the screener at the top of edgeful.com. Right over here, you can see that here. Now, you're going to see this overall daily bias bar. The first thing I need to mention is that I have the all assets selected, which means I'm including stocks and futures. And then I have over here 16 total tickers selected. You can see them all right over here. It's pretty much the highest weighted stocks in the ES or the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. So today is a pretty strong example of a very, very bullish bias. So you can see almost 90%, which is unusual, to be honest. And what this is up here is it's just adding up all of the bias that gets collected from this daily bias template. So this daily bias template makes up 4 different reports: opening candle continuation, IB buy rejection, previous day's range. So you can see here, if we scroll, you're going to see these are all of the different setups for today. This is actually using live data for today. And I want to show you guys a really clean example here of how you can take advantage of this. And I'm going to use this day. This is not actually today. Today is August 22nd. Today also happens to be Jackson Hole, so pretty crazy price action today, but I want to show you guys this so you understand how to use it. So first thing I want to do, just really quickly, is plot previous day's high, and it'll be this yellow line. Now I want to zoom in to this day here, and this is where all 4 of these reports are going to play out. So opening candle is the open to the close of the first hour. You can look at all these reports here. We have a bunch of different videos, explainer videos that come. So like this is the opening candle continuation report. You can watch the explainer video on the bottom of that report page, but I'm not going to go into the details of what this is. But when the open to the close of the first hour is green, you can see this is on ES on August 4th. This is bullish. This is going to lean bullish for the most part. It is different for every single ticker. For ES, it is bullish. And then, so what you can see next, so that's the first report, opening candle continuation. You can see today was green. Then we're going to go to the IB. You can see that when price here breaks out to the top side of the IB, that is another bullish signal. So now we have 2 so far bullish signals. Next, IB buy rejection. This tracks based on which side of the IB forms first, which one is likely to break out first. So you can see this, the low formed first, the high formed second. This is another bullish confluence. So we have 3 now, very, very bullish confluences specifically for ES. And then finally, we go to the previous day's range. You can see this is why I marked out yesterday's high with the yellow line. Price broke previous day's high. Now we have 4 bullish confluences on ES. So if you're going to look for something like this to happen, you are going to be on the wrong side of the data here. This is when you see all these bullish confluences, this is your opportunity to buy pullbacks, right? You can see right over here was a good opportunity to buy a pullback, even if you were to, sorry about that. Even if you were to buy this pullback here, you can look for a really nice move up for the rest of the day, right? 18 points on ES, almost 20 points on ES. Fantastic trade. It did continue to go actually higher than that. It ended up going 23 points, which is obviously an unbelievable day for trading ES. But the idea here is that when you see a screener that looks like this across the major market movers, this is your signal to say, I need to ride this wave. I need to be long bias, not trying to be the contrarian that's going against the data. So I'm actually going to show you what's going on today here. So keep in mind, this is Jackson Hole, Jerome Powell speaking. This is why there's like a giant candle here. But the data still plays out, right? We have the indicator. I have my previous day's range by session because I'm looking at futures, the regular previous day's range indicators for stocks. So the by session is the one you want to use here. But break of previous day's high, green opening candle, IB low formed first, high formed second. So what does this mean? Right here, we want to expect, I'll just make it a little bit more clear here. You want to expect a break of the IB high, right? So the moment that the IB forms at, or in all these 3 out of the 4 reports form at 10:30, which is right around here, this is your place to start to get long. It's actually really, really nice, like this setup here today, where the IB forms and then it pulls back a little bit, because this gives you that breathing room to actually start to target that high. Sometimes the IB will form and then the next candle would break out. So you have a little less room to play there. But you can see here, a nice little pullback. This is where you start to get long. You can put a stop below the lows here and continue for price to break this IB high. That's your TP1. Why is it your TP1? Because we have a green opening candle, which is bullish. We have a IB by rejection, the low formed first. This is again bullish. And then we have a break of the previous session's high, again, that's bullish. And then the moment that price breaks out of this IB, now you do not want to expect this, which is another bullish bias for continuation. Now, again, today's Jackson Hole, so it might not continue. Days with red folder news are a little bit different, but I just wanted to highlight how you can use this screener to understand what the major market movers are doing. So just to recap quickly, if Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Netflix, Nvidia, Tesla, Broadcom, Costco are all bullish and you're trading the ES or the NASDAQ, are you going to be bearish? You should not be, right? Now it could happen, but over the course of the next 100 trades, you're going to be on the wrong side of that data. You're going to be on the wrong side of the trade. So the reason that you want to look at the screener every day is to understand what is my data-backed bias that allows me to be on the right side of the trade. So a lot of people, I'm sure, were looking to get short here. Oh, rejection of the high, right? They're gonna look for something like this. They're gonna get short. The data is telling you that you want to actually be the one getting long, buying the pullback, targeting this area. We have 3 reports here that are giving us very, very bullish bias targeting this area here. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out to our support right in the Edgeful app. If this video is helpful, please subscribe to the YouTube. There's a ton of free content on there. If you're a day trader, you trade futures, stocks, crypto, or Forex, it doesn't matter. We have something for you. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Here's everything you need to know about the edgeful algos. So we just released the ability to actually connect the algos to your prop firm or your broker. I'm going to touch on that in a second, but this is a fully automated trading system that is completely data backed. So what I first want to do is I want to cover this landing page that covers all the features, like the main overview of the edgeful algos, and then we'll go into some of the other things like the automation, some of the actual strategies themselves, and then how to actually customize them based on you and your personality. So obviously this is the video that you're watching right now. I'm going to scroll down. At the moment, we have the gap fill, the orb, and the IB algo. These are all based on the reports from Edgeful. So we're releasing the engulfing candles algo. It'll be based on the engulfing candles by RR report on Edgeful, but that will be added in here. It will probably be released next week. It's August 11th today, so roughly August 18th. This will be out. By the time you're watching this video, you'll probably have access to the engulfing candles algo as well. So one thing, you get all of the, in terms of like what's included in the plan, you get all of the algos that are here, plus the automation in the algos plan. The algos does require an upgrade from the traditional $49 Edgeful plan. So it is not included in the Edgeful plan. That is important for me to mention. It is $250 above the Edgeful plan, which makes it $299 a month. Trust me, it pays for itself. I'm going to show you a bunch of the details in a second, so make sure to watch this video in full. Scrolling down, fully automated execution. So connect your broker so you never miss another trade setup. This is really, really important. There's 2 types of people this really benefits. One of them is the people who actually do work from home that can be at their screens all day, but hesitate on their entries. They move their stop loss, they move their profit target, they start to mess around with their trading, and that results in them blowing their accounts and not being profitable over time. The other type of person that this benefits is the people who actually have to go into the office, that are in meetings, that have kids, that are going to be driving, that are at work during the times when the algos will execute. So what this does is it allows you to fully take advantage of the algos the way that it was meant to be taken advantage of. What I mean by that is it will actually enter, exit, and stop out for you. Everything is done fully A to Z, but most importantly, it's based on you and your personality, your risk tolerance, your desired win rate, your desired risk to reward. It is not based on some holy grail. All of these algos are customizable to the asset that you want to trade and to the types of losses and winners and contract size. Everything is customizable. So this is super important. This is going to, as you can see here, no noise, no guesswork, no hesitation. Everything is done for you. Scrolling down. So these are the prop firms and brokers that you can connect to. At the moment, we are only connecting to the prop firms that allow you to connect to TradingView. So we do not have Project X. I know this is a request, but we do not have Project X. Any prop firm that you can see that allows TradingView, those are the ones that you can connect to. This is really important. It's probably, the list is definitely longer than the one that I have here, but I just wanted to mention that we don't have Project X yet. Once we do, you'll obviously see that on this page itself. Scrolling down, we have a private Discord group. So we have our regular free Discord group. You don't even have to be an edgeful member to access that. But we have a private Discord group only for the people who have access to the algos. So this does not include all the regular edgeful members. What you can get here is people actually discussing and sharing their settings that they have found work really well to pass funded challenges or on different assets that actually just make money for them. Here's a little quick preview. This is on NQ in the last year. This is year to date. This is all of 2025, returning $22,000 on just a single contract. If you want to know what these settings are or what any other settings are for any other strategies, you can go to the Discord where people are discussing all their strategies there. Now, the actual performance. So the performance is obviously a huge factor of the reason to upgrade here. You don't want to have something that doesn't work. You want something that works really well. This is actually 2025. This is on just a single mini on NQ. $22,000, 220% return. I'm going to touch on this more in a second, but the performance is super important. Obviously, this is the only thing that really matters outside of these other main factors right here, which I'm going to cover. Obviously, these are meant to be successful strategies. You can customize them to however you want. You can make them lose a bunch of money. You can make them win a bunch of money. But at the end of the day, they all have great foundations to make money. Customizable strategies. This is what I was talking about. So you can see right here, you can change your max loss per trade. You can trade either certain directions, whether long or short on certain weekdays. This goes across the board. I'm going to touch on that more in a second. But the most important piece is that you're not trading a strategy that you don't understand. We give you all of the information, all of the tutorials to actually be able to understand the strategy, to customize it based on the rules of your prop firm or the rules of like just the type of trader that you are. Like for example, some people like to trade with the trend. Some people like to trade reversals. It doesn't really matter. You can customize them to suit your personality. 3 simple steps right over here. You get access to the algos, you optimize them, and then you automate them. Those are the main 3 simple steps that we have. And then you can see right here, built to pay for itself. This screenshot or this animation is actually a list of real trades that were from one of these back tests here. So now I want to go into the actual strategy right here for a second. What you can see here is that this is the orb strategy. This is the one that I recommend anyone who's trading with a prop firm start out with. I recommend that you guys start with this one. The reason that I say that is because the win rate is the highest of the gap fill, the IB, and the orb. So this one specifically on NQ, I'm looking at the 5-minute time frame right now, returned $22,000, less than 20% drawdown, 108 total trades this year, 66 or almost 67% win rate, and a 1.6 profit factor. I mean, what more can you ask for, to be honest? But really what these algos do is they give you the confidence to actually trade a strategy that you know works, right? There's over 100 trades here. There's only 250 trading days in an entire year. This is more than enough of a sample size to use to start to run this. I actually personally run these myself, and I never tell anyone what my personal settings are because most people will just copy them. I don't want to do that. What I want to show you guys though is how the settings actually work. So on all of the algos, including the orb, you can actually change what the settings are in here. So you can see there is a max loss. This is on NQ, so $1,000 for one contract. You can see that I can turn on and off whether I want to trade long or short on Mondays. I can change my profit target, my max orb size, my minimum orb size, literally everything. I can change my orb time frame. If I want to do a 5-minute orb or a 30-minute orb or a 1-hour orb, it doesn't really matter. I can change that. If I want to trade the London session, I can change that here too. I don't want to go too much into the details of this specific strategy because we have all of the education right over here. So you can see at the top over here, we have, if you don't watch all these videos, you're guaranteed to fail. The reason for that is because in these videos, we actually cover how the strategies work, how changing the different settings will impact the backtest and the strategies in general. You need to understand that. So you can see here, these are mostly like setup videos. Then we have the actual explainer videos. This one's actually the one for the orb. Again, I recommend starting with this one. Here are all the reports that you can use to actually change each of the inputs. Scrolling down, we have tutorials on Excel where you can just copy exactly what I'm doing to help you optimize things, and some mindset and psychology videos as well right at the bottom.
how to think about win rate and profit factor, how far should you backtest, position sizing, so growing without blowing your account. We literally have everything that you could possibly need, and then also to actually automate now. So let's say that you only get to this point, the automation point, once you're happy with the backtest. And again, I just want to mention that the default settings, so these are not the default settings. I'll actually show you guys the default settings here quick. So I'm going to go to my default settings. I'm going to go to year to date. I'm going to go to year to date here. And then I'm going to, this is really important, the default settings have the max loss set to 100. Obviously you can't trade NQ with a $100 stop loss. I'm going to make this 1,000, and I'm going to leave all the other settings as is. I'm going to click OK. This is updating the report. And then now you can see that these are the default, practically the default settings, just by making the max loss reasonable. I didn't touch anything. The only thing that I touched was the max loss. You can see $16,000 of returns, less than 19% drawdown, 88 trades, 68% win rate, and a 1.6 profit factor. So if we go to the list of trades here, just to give you guys the confidence to say that this is something you really want to trade, if we go to the list of trades here and I scroll, you have every single piece of information that you could possibly need to have confidence in any strategy, not just the edgeful strategies, any strategy. So you have obviously these items here, the performance, the P&L, the drawdown, the total trades, the win rate, and the profit factor. Then you have over here, the entry and exit times, the date, the prices, the position size, the P&L, the run up, the drawdown, the cumulative profit. You literally have everything. There's not any more information that I could possibly give you to give you the confidence to put your money behind a certain strategy. Obviously, you need to optimize it based on how you like to trade. So if you prefer a lower win rate with a higher risk to reward, that's obviously fine, but it's just based on what you are happy with and your personality. One last thing that I want to show you guys is how many consecutive losers this strategy has taken with the default settings. So let's scroll down here. I'm going to make this bigger. Let's scroll down here for a second. I'm just going to point out all the consecutive losers. Right here, there's 2. Scrolling down. Here's another 2. Here's another 2. Here's 2. Here's 2. Here's another 2. And that's it. In all of 2025, this strategy has only taken 2 consecutive losers. So how do you think that that would work with your evals, with your prop firm challenges, or even with your regular brokerage accounts if you trade with NinjaTrader or TradingView? This is the type of strategy that most beginner traders need that they don't have access to. This is the orb strategy. I'm looking at NQ. This would apply the same on MNQ, but just divided by 10 roughly. If you guys have any questions, we are here to help you. Just reach out to our support down here. I don't know really why it's not something you would not try. If you are a struggling trader, someone who has blown eval after eval, this is the answer for you where you specifically can automate it. This is a huge feature that we just released with the automation where you don't have to rely on your emotions anymore to be able to make money trading. You let the computers do it for you, you let the data do it for you, and you can just sit back and watch. Now, here, this page has everything you need right over here. This page, the Automate Algos page, is everything that you could possibly need to actually set up the automation. We also have an FAQ here as well. If you still don't get it, we will help you on support. We are here to help you. Edgeful's mission is to make Edgeful the place where traders come to actually make money. We are tired of people losing money. This is what we are doing to help people make money. These strategies, these algos are the ones that we want to show you and give you so you can actually make money over time. So thanks for watching. I hope this is helpful.
What's up guys, my name is Andre. In this video, we're gonna be covering Edgeful AI, what it can and can't do. Just so you guys know, today is December 15th and this version is V0 of Edgeful AI. I'm only saying that because there will be more videos made later on and we are going to make a lot of new versions of this, a lot of new improvements. But I just wanted to start out by saying that so you know what version this is that I'm covering in this video. So first of all, right over here in the sidebar, this is where you're going to see it. If your sidebar is closed, it's still the star, but it's right over here. Now you can do new chat, you can search your chats, and you can look at your usage details. So you actually won't have these two, these are internal versions, but
as of right now, Edgeful AI does not have access to the data in Edgeful. Imagine it is like a super customer support person, right? It knows how to use all the reports. It knows all the reports. It is educated on all of our stay sharps. Literally like everything, all the documentation that we have is loaded in here and it's trained on that. That's really important because if you were to ask it a question about a strategy or what are the results for the gap fill on NQ, it's not going to be able to answer that. So I just want to make that really clear. That is coming with V1 and V2 and V3, but we just wanted to get something out, to get a functioning version out. We don't believe in waiting for it to be perfect. This is the version that we launched with, and we just wanted to get everything kind of the foundation set before we start to build on it. So now that we're in this chat area, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. So you can see Edgeful AI. Let's get started with some pre-built prompts. There's 4 right over here. The one that I recommend starting with is right over here. What types of questions can Edgeful AI answer? So what this will do when you click on it, it's going to paste in a prompt for you. So you can see that right here. I just clicked it and it pasted this whole long thing in. This is going to make your life a lot easier. So what I'm going to do now is click go, right? And you can see right down here, it's thinking still. Now, at the very moment, it is going to take 20 seconds for this answer to load. The reason for that is because when you go to regular Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT, you're actually going to see the letters be written out. You're going to see all the words, all the sentences be written out. We don't do that yet. So pretty much we need to wait for the whole answer to be written before we start to stream that text. So you might feel like it's taking a little bit longer, but it's not. It's just that it's writing out all the text and then it's displaying the answer once the text is written. So I just want to make that clear. You don't have to refresh. I would not recommend refreshing. It's not frozen. If it takes like 2 minutes, then yeah, it's probably frozen, but I've never had that happen before. So now this question, this pre-built prompt says, you're an expert analyst. Like, how do I pretty much use Edgeful, right? What can I do? And then it's going to say right over here, what I can help you with Edgeful. Platform navigation, report methodology and how they work, report customizations and filters, combining reports for confluence, understanding probability and statistical interpretation, right? So, and then also very importantly, what can it not do? Is NQ going to go higher or lower today? Obviously, it doesn't know that. Nobody knows that. Where is there support, right? Should I enter here with a stop at this place? Can you tell, for another example is, can you tell me where to buy, sell, and take profit? It will not do that. This thing is not going to give you signals. And also, again, it doesn't have access to the data just yet. So if I go over here, right, or let's just create a new chat for a second, and I go, explain the gap fill report to me in 3 sentences. Right, so it's going to be thinking. Obviously, it's going to give you an answer in just a second. Gap fill report identifies when price opens above or below the previous session's close, then measures how often that gap gets filled. And then you can even do this. Right? Obviously, I want to make it extremely clear that the more context you give it, the better the results are going to be. So if you want to just say, I mean, the output of AI is always based on the input, right? So it's only going to be as good as the question you ask it, right? So that, like I mentioned before, it shows fill rates based on gap type, size, weekday. You can use the previous session's close as a profit target when trading gap fills, right? Now, if we go to new chat again, what is the ultimate reversal setup? What are the 10 most popular reports? What should my morning routine look like, right? So if we go to the ultimate reversal, this is going to write out your pre-built prompt. I'm a beginner. Can you explain the ultimate reversal in simple terms? And as this kind of goes out, just so you know, once this is done loading, I'm going to give you a little tip on this sidebar here. So just give it a second. Okay. So one thing, you click on this, you can pin the chat. So right now this is in my pinned chats. I can also rename it. This is really important. So ultimate reversal. Click. It's going to appear right here, right there. You can see it. You can rename your chats. I do recommend taking advantage of this pin. It will keep your chats much more organized. And what you can see here, the ultimate reversal is based on a simple idea. It's 3 reports, outside days, gap fill, ICT. Pretty much it's going to walk you through exactly how this works. Now, what you can always do is say, we actually have it so it always gives you a TLDR. This is really important. So it will always give you a TLDR at the end if it's a longer response. This is important. If you don't feel like reading the whole thing, just read this. This is going to give you the bulk of the answer. Obviously, the details are up here. You can always give it some context, right? You can always say, if I struggle to hold on to winners or whatever else it is, the more context you give it, the better. So as of right now, the way that you're going to use this is asking about certain reports. What are they measuring? How can I use it? So you see the inside bars report on edgeful. You can come over here and have a conversation about what does it do, right? How can I use it in my trading? So that's what you're going to use this for. This is V0. This is not V1, V2, V3 are all coming. But as of right now, this is V0. It does not have any access to the data. I just want to make that super clear. And eventually, obviously, hopefully very soon, we are going to have the ability for it to connect to the data. So if you have any questions, please reach out to our support right over here. And thank you for watching. Edgeful.com just released a new free trading tool, and it is a risk calculator. We have a version that is completely public, no account creation required, no email. You just go to edgeful.com/trading-risk-calculator. So if you just type in edgeful.com trading risk calculator, I'm sure it'll come up. If you're inside of the Edgeful app, you're going to see it right in the sidebar. It's going to be right here. I'm going to walk you guys through exactly what it is and how to use it. There's only two things. This is very simple. I think it's very powerful, but very simple. There's only two things that you can do. Number one is you put in your account size or your max drawdown. When I say account size, this is going to be for if you have personal capital. Let's say you have a $10,000 account. You're going to put that number in here. If you're trading with a prop firm and you trade a 50K with a $2,000 max drawdown, you don't want to put in 50K, you want to put in $2,000, right? That's your max drawdown. That's really what you're working with, right? So in this case, if we're going to do a 10K drawdown, let's pretend that you have a 150K account, 10K max drawdown. Right here, we just have the default risk per trade to be 2% or $200. And right here, you can see that this is very conservative, risking 2% of your account per trade. So this section right here is risk per trade in terms of percentage of your account. So if I make this, call it 5,000, you're going to see 5,000. You're going to see this will double, right? So risk per trade is the same. We're risking 4% of the account. So what I want to do now is change this back to 10,000. So we have risk per trade here. And then now we have, this is really important, the number of consecutive losses that you can take until you blow the account. This is a worst case scenario calculator, right? You can take 50 trades in a row that are losers, and you will then blow the account, right? So if you risk $200 50 times with a 10K account, you have 50 trades that you're giving yourself. That is you're very conservative. That's great, right? So let's just say now, and then also, by the way, we have our recommended risk per trade. This is always going to be 2% of whatever your account is. So if you go to a 100K account, the recommended risk per trade is going to be 2% or $2,000, right? So if you have even if you do a 5K account, your recommended risk per trade is going to be $100, right? It's always going to be that 2%. Now I'm going to focus still up here for just a second. If you want to call it, you can see the guide right down here, but let's just say you want to risk 400 per trade. Now it's moderate. It's not, I wouldn't say it's conservative, but it's moderate. And now you're risking 4% of your account. You can take 25 consecutive losing trades before you blow the account if you have a 10K drawdown and you risk $400 per trade. Then let's go to 800, right? You can see these colors are getting darker and darker. So you can see we're at the orange section now. This is relatively aggressive. Risking 8% of your account is definitely aggressive. You can only afford 12 consecutive losers. And then like what most people will do, which is what we obviously don't recommend, is you have a 10K account, you risk 20% of it, you risk $2,000, and now you're risking obviously 20% of your account, and you only give yourself 5 consecutive trades before you blow the account. Let's scroll down for a second and talk about this section here. The probability of blowing your account based on different win rates. So we have 4 different templated win rates in here that you can't change them. We have 40%, 50%, 60%, and 70% win rates. Now, based on
the number of consecutive losses that you can allow here, these numbers are going to change, right? So I'm going to explain to you, I'm sure you guys have seen this graphic here. This is part of this here. So if you have so what this says here is chance of 5 straight losses with a 40% win rate over 100 trades. It's a 100% chance. This is extremely high risk. Chance of 5 straight losses with a 50% win rate, 95%. Chance of 5 straight losses with a 60% win rate, 63%. Chance of 5 straight losses with a 70% win rate, 21%. So what this means and how are you going to apply this? If you want to risk 20% of your account, or pretty much risk your account in 5 trades, you need an extremely high win rate in order to be able to survive, right? While risking 20% of your account per trade, you need an unrealistically high win rate to be able to survive a 5 trade losing streak, right? This is where this is coming from, right? So this number here, the number 5, puts us into this category here, this column, right? So I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do this. And you can see where each of these are coming from. So you can see 40%. I'm going to go to 40%. You can see there's a 100% chance that I take 5 losers. I go to 50%. You can see 95% chance that I take 5 consecutive losing trades. 60% obviously is going to be over here. 70% is going to be over here. So the more that you want to risk per trade, obviously the higher win rate you need. Now, if you drop this down to, let's just say 1500, you're going to see that over here, these numbers are all going to change. This is dynamic. So this is going to allow you to really see what is high risk and what is not, and how many consecutive losing trades are you able to take based on your account size, based on your drawdown, based on how much you're risking, and what type of win rate do you really need in order to have a chance risking that much. So very simple. There's really not much else on here. We are going to add more stuff to this over time. If you guys want us to add something in particular, please reach out to our support in the Edgeful app right over here and just say, hey, listen, I would love to be able to choose my contract. Like I want to look at NQ. I want to be able to calculate my position size or whatever else. We'll be able to accommodate that over time. What we want to do is first release this so you guys can use it right away, and then start to add things to it. But at the moment, we really want you guys to get an understanding of, hey, if you have a 10K drawdown and you're risking $1,500 per trade, I mean, you need a 60 or 70% win rate to really make it work over time. It's not over the course of 1 week, not over the course of 2 weeks, but over the course of the long term, you're going to need a very high consistent win rate in order to survive based on this type of risk. So I hope this is helpful. Thank you for watching. What's up, guys? My name is Andre. In this video, we're going to be covering the brand new Edgeful blog, and there's 2 ways to get to it. One of them is inside the Edgeful app in your sidebar right over here. Another one is if you are logged out, if you are not signed in or don't have an account, you go to edgeful.com/blog. Just go to edgeful.com. It's right here at the top. This right here is where you're going to be. So to sign up to the actual newsletter, I highly recommend obviously doing that. It's completely free. You can just put your email in right here. And every single Saturday, you're going to get an email about the reports, about trading strategies, about psychology, about risk management. There's a bunch of different things that we talk about, obviously. So I'll close this up. I'll make this smaller. And so we have the search feature. If you want to search for a specific thing, let's just time frame candles. You can go to this specific blog that I made on the brand new indicator that's included in the Edgeful plan. You can see all the details right over here. So going back for a second, you can see that we have the homepage, the Stay Sharp category, the education category, psychology, indicators, and product updates. So if you want to see specific things, this is where you go to kind of navigate and filter those areas. Right now we're on the homepage. You're going to see all of the ones that we've sent out. Obviously, we've been doing it for a while. So this is actually a really good one. If you want to read one that's interesting, The Man Who Solved the Market, Jim Simons, I highly recommend this one. But we've been doing this for a really long time. It's completely for free. I highly recommend checking this out. You can search for different concepts right over here. But appreciate you guys. If you ever have any questions, please don't be shy to reach out to the support right over here in the Edgeful app. We're always happy to help. Have a good one. What's up, guys? My name is Andre, and in this video, I'm going to be telling you exactly how to get the TradingView indicators that are part of the Edgeful plan.
So first things first, obviously you need to be in the edgeful app. On the right side here on your bookmarks bar, you're going to see this TradingView logo. You're going to click on this logo right here and you're going to see this pop-up come up. You're going to see it's going to say enter TradingView username below. So that's going to be in this box right here. And then you're going to click update. So the way to find your TradingView username is to go over here inside of TradingView and then click on the profile button at the top left. And then you're going to see your username appear right over here. So mine is edgeful. Yours will obviously be whatever it is. But you need to take this and you need to put it into this area here and then click update. Now, from there, you're going to see in your indicators section this invite only appear. If you see this appear and then all of these indicators show up, but you can't add them on your chart, just refresh your TradingView on a Mac that's going to be Command R, on a PC that's going to be Control R. That should get you the access. If you can see them here, then you already have access to them, which is great. Now, for futures, Forex, crypto, and stock traders, and obviously options trader as well, we have different indicators for you. So some of the ones that I'm going to talk about now are, let me just move this around. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So one of the ones for Forex, crypto, and futures traders that I think is absolutely crucial is the market sessions. So you can see here, I have the Asian, London, and New York sessions plotted out for me. The open, the high, the low, and the close. There is a bunch of customization here. If you want to put the lines on, if you want to turn the labels off, so you know the Asian range is the orange one, and then you can turn these labels off. Everything is very customizable. So in this case, what you can do, and one of the reasons I think that all futures, Forex, and crypto traders should have this is they usually trade one session. So let's say you trade the New York session. You're going to see here that all of the New York sessions are outlined by these blue boxes. Now, there are, on every single report page, you're going to see this video of how can I use this. On these videos, you're going to see what relevant indicator you're going to need for that report. So I'm not going to cover all of the indicators on this video here. You can go to the reports, these videos, and we'll cover all of the indicators that you need per report. Now, I am going to touch on the most popular, or the most popular reports that we have, the most popular indicators that we have, starting out with the gap fill by session. So if you're a futures, Forex, or crypto trader, you're going to use the by session variant. If you're a stock trader or an options trader, or you're looking at equities, you're going to use the regular gap fill. So let's look at this gap fill by session for a second. You can see here, the gap fill, traditional gap fill is when price today touches the previous closing price. On futures, Forex, and crypto, we are referencing the previous New York session. So here you can see, automatically plotted for you is the gap fill level. So you don't need to actually plot it out. You can see it on your charts. And as it's filling, you can see this blue area get filled. And then this yellow box here is going to highlight the candle that actually fills that gap. So if you were to use the regular gap fill indicator, it is not going to work here. So if I click on this, it's not going to reference the right price. It's going to take the close of the actual day, which is not what you want. This one, so let me delete the by session one. This one will work on stocks. So if you're looking at SPY, this is where you're going to see it work. So this is the same example. You're going to see it's referencing properly the previous session's closing price, the previous day's closing price. Price comes down, and then now everything is properly laid out. So if you see a by session version, typically that's going to be for Forex, futures, and crypto. Now, the initial balance is another one that is extremely popular. So let me remove my gap fill one here. And this applies exactly the same to stocks, Forex, crypto, and futures. But let's go back to futures for a second. And let's go to the customizations here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the settings up top. Starting from the top to the bottom, you can change the number of days back. If you only want this to plot today, you can click 1, and you're going to see everything goes away. If you want this to go far back, you can do 50, and then you can see every single day plotted for you is the initial balance. The same thing applies to the orb. So here, you can change your initial balance time frame. You can actually type in here, so you can use different intervals that they have. You can just type a time. Then you can change the little box that appears here. So let me hide my market sessions. You can see that there is a little green box here that appears. That is telling you that the IB hasn't formed yet. These are the candles that actually form the IB within this area here. So you can change the IB high and low colors. So you can make them both red, you can make them both yellow, it doesn't matter. And then now, right here we have the midlines. These midlines are splitting the initial balance into 4 pieces. So you can see this IB today is 47 points. Right here, the halfway mark is 23.5. The 25% is 11.75. So this is going to automatically cut your initial balance into quadrants, and you can also customize these as well. So I'm going to turn that off. Then you have the extension lines. These are very interesting, and these fall in line with the by performance report. And what they do is they plot from the IB high upwards and from the IB low downwards. So by the way, if you ever double click on this, it'll also bring up the settings, but you can change this to be 0.3, you can change this to be 0.7, it doesn't matter, it'll automatically plot for you the extensions from the IB high and low. Let me move this back to 1. And then so you can hide and unhide that, obviously, you can change the colors. And then here, this is the by levels. So we have a report, a sub-report called by levels. And this is where you can see, I'll do this quickly, I'll do only up to 2. And then here I said that the initial balance today was roughly 47 points. So you can see we have the 0 here, which is the IB high, then the 0.5 and the 1. So the initial balance is 47 points today. So from the IB high to the 1 is another 47 points. From the 1 to the 2 is another 47 points. And then the halfway marks here are just halfway. So these will scale actually with the size of the IB. So regardless of what asset you're looking at, everything will scale based on the size, which is really nice. And then that's it for the initial balance. If you ever want to reset these indicators, you just click reset settings and then everything will go back to normal. So you can, that's really convenient. Let's touch on a few other popular ones. So the ICT opening retracement, another very popular one. So let's turn off so now I have I'm just going to hide that that diagonal line. So ICT opening retracement, this plots out the midnight opening price. You can see right here, this blue line is the ICT opening retracement. You can change the color to be red or whatever else you want. So make sure you do that. You can also change the start and end times. So that's another very popular one. That report is very popular. Let's just go through. Inside bars. This one is telling you, actually highlighting each of the inside bars. Just another helpful indicator to have. Let's delete that. Let's go through a little bit more. The opening candle continuation, a very important one. This is a very strong report. This will plot out the first hour, the high and the low of the first, or the open to the close, or the direction or the color of the first hour. You can see here it's red, which means obviously it was a bearish first hour, which aligns with the report. That will give you a bias depending on the instrument that you're looking at. But you can see this one is red, and then let's find a green one right here. Oh, sorry, let's go back to ES. You can see here's the green one. So it'll automatically plot the open to the close of that hour, and then the color will change based on the actual color of that opening candle. So really, really crucial indicator to have if you like that opening candle continuation report. Highly recommend it. Let's go through a little bit more. The orb obviously is the exact same as the IB, just defaulted to a different time. So everything is the exact same. It's just defaulted to 9:30 to 9:45. You can change the start and end times here, and this applies to any of the indicators we have. If you use a different session, just like if you use the London session, make sure you update this to accommodate that London session. Now let's go through a little bit more. The orb. Pivot points by session. So this one's actually really important if you use the pivot points report, because pivot points will use the high, low, and close of the prior session. And now if you use the traditional pivots, if you do this, if you go to the traditional pivots, pivot point standard, it is not going to take the high, low, and close of the New York session. It's going to take the high, low, and close of the entire day, which on the edgeful report you don't want to use unless you're using the daily session. So if you want to use the New York session, you cannot use the standard typical indicator. You have to use the pivot points by session, which will allow you to automatically plot for the New York session. If you go to the settings, you can change the time frame that you want to look at and then the times of each of the sessions here. Super important if you trade the pivot points, by the way. Continuing down, power hour breakout is another really popular one. Let me close out my pivot points. Power hour breakout. This will automatically plot the high and the low of the session, as well as the start of power hour and then the end of power hour, which is obviously the close of the session. Again, these are customizable, so you can change the session range. If you look at this on London, you'd want to change this to be 3 a.m. and then this to be 11 a.m. and then this would be 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and then 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So that would be the London session, and that corresponds with this London range, obviously right here. So just keep that in mind. Everything here is customizable. Obviously, that is very important for you to know. And let me put back on my New York range. I'm going to remove this power hour breakout. Obviously, all these explanations are going to be in the report video, so I do recommend going to see that. Weekly open is another really good one. Very strong report that we have for most major indices. And it plots out the Sunday opening price here. So every single day plotted for, or every single week plotted for you is going to be that Sunday opening price. You might want to leave this on your charts. It's totally up to you. You can change the color, obviously, to be whatever you want. But this will plot the Sunday opening price. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, make sure to reach out to our support over here with any questions about the indicators. Obviously, in all these report videos, we're going to cover the indicators that are relevant to the reports that you're looking at. If this video is helpful, please subscribe to the YouTube. It really helps us out, and there's a ton of valuable content around trading on there. Thank you very much. Have a good one.